So here we are on location at the Tap House Empyreal Brewing in the heart of historic St. Elmo. And we're talking today with Chris, who opened the place up 5 years ago. And we're going to get a little in-depth on the Imperial Brewing part. Plus, we're going to touch base on all the new menu changes happening in the Tap House. It's We Try Wednesday on the road. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing all right.
So let's walk us through here. Imperial Brewing. First off, let's start with the name because it's an odd spelling.
Yeah, Imperial is starts with an E, obviously a little bit different than your Imperial beer that most people think. So it's kind of a play off of the Imperial beers, but it's also for us, it's the creation of different things. That's where the logo kind of comes from, the Chimera, which is a mix of different animals, different DNAs. It's kind of the creation of how beer comes to be. Taking beer, taking different ingredients, and coming up with something fantastical is what we like to do. And we do it in small batches, and that's what we've been doing with Imperial almost for 2 years here now. So that's where that comes from.
Now, when you started the Tap House, it's been 5 years, and you got a big anniversary party coming up. It's this weekend.
Yes, Saturday.
You started off as a tap house. It's a place for people to gather and have beer, and you've always been celebrating local beer. Walk us through how that process worked.
The idea was to open a draft beer bar, 30 taps, always supporting something local. And we still do that to this day. We have 7 of our own taps. We maintain at least 5 local taps, and sometimes we extend that out to 7 as well. So we have at least 14 local beers on draft. We're in a good spot of tourism, so it's good for people to come in here and try different things. We can always push, hey, you like this kind of beer, you should go check out this brewery. You looking for this kind of beer, you should go check out this brewery. We love our stuff as well, but always looking to support local things. So I think the love for just the craft beer industry and the creation of something new. When I sold the homebrew store, we wanted to keep doing it more of instead of a hobby, just do this instead.
So, but here's the deal though. For about 3 years, you were selling a lot of great local craft brews, and we really do live in a great craft brewery portion of Tennessee. What made you decide to open your own brewery?
That's a good question. Seeing the different things. Amanda loves to do recipes. She's a cook, so she's the one that kind of steers the recipes and come up with creative things like a mojito IPA, the strawberry pina colada IPA, those kind of things that we hadn't seen done here locally. So we wanted to experiment ourselves, and that's what we did. We started putting together recipes, and then we got some feedback from some friends. And then we got some feedback from some people coming in, and they're like, this is pretty good beer. So we kind of expanded off of that and said, well, we've got a bar, we could do this. So what was a hobby turned into more of a 3-day-a-week job. So Clay, who's been with me for 5 years now, has kind of maneuvered over, become the assistant brewer. So he and I are more the assistants, and Amanda puts the recipes together, and we whip up the beer. Usually twice a week. Now,
it's been brought up to me that it is kind of unusual to have a female brewmaster, but Amanda really, I think, thinks far more outside the box than other brewmasters that I've spoken with over the years.
Yeah, she does. She wants to take, her background in cooking and background in other things, and she wants to put them into something that people can enjoy. And it's hard to do that when you're doing it part-time, which is what we do. We do it in all of our free time, and we make it work as best we can, but it's going around trying different things. We've been to plenty of different breweries around the world, in Tennessee as well, and in Chattanooga particularly, and thought, she's like, I'd like to try and do something that's a little bit different off of these recipes. So she's the mastermind behind the recipes, and I call myself the laborer.
All right, here in a few minutes, we're going to kind of go a little bit more in depth on the brewing process, what everyone is working on here, Amanda's latest secret recipes. But first, Chris, what I want to talk about is the Tap House itself. When you started, I know it's hard to believe it's been 5 years. When you started, it was a good place to come and get some good local beer and maybe a little bit of, munchies or snacks. Now you have a full menu, and I have to admit, I've been here for lunch before. You see me, your burgers are outstanding.
All right, well, first I appreciate that. Yeah, so let's reel back 5 years. 5 years ago was let's open a beer joint where people would come in St. Elmo, away from downtown, kind of relax. We had couches, we had chairs, we had tables of 12 that you could gather at with friends. And that was great. Nothing wrong with that. That's in particularly how I prefer to do things. But you know, when COVID rolled around and you do your market research, what happened to breweries that didn't have food? Doors started closing. They started struggling. So adapt and overcome. What did we do? We opened up a kitchen. We expanded the menu. I'm a 30, 60, 90 day kind of guy. So every 90 days we would make adjustments to that menu until we nailed it. And then we kept doing that for the entire first year. And then the second year when we had food, we did the same thing. Now it moved from 90 days to 6 months. People's feedback, anything we could do. Even just as recently as 2 weeks ago, we had to make one final menu change because we've gotten so busy with our burgers that we had to take some of the things off that we had carried over from our original menu, which is unfortunate, but our focus is on the burgers, and I'd be happy to challenge any burger joint in town to head to head on our burger quality.
And that's a pretty serious challenge. Of course, this is what I like about the burgers here is the quality of the meat. Tell us a little bit about, what are you using exactly?
So we're using 100% certified Angus beef. It's from Evans Meats, which is, again, we're trying to use as many locally sourced items as we can. So that's what we do. And then we have a burger that's called the exotic burger, and it's a combination of bison, boar, elk, and wagyu all combined into one for an exotic experience with that burger.
All right, so let's talk here about the anniversary party, the 5 years. It's this Saturday, when to win, and what's going on?
All right, so Saturday, 5 years, what we're going to be doing is blocking off the parking lot. I've invited another St. Elmo group over here, California Smothered Burritos, is set up in the parking lot to help spread the love a little bit. They just celebrated their 10 years with us, so felt it was appropriate to include another local joint with us. Block off the parking lot. We'll have a DJ out there from 2 until 5. We'll be pumping some of our beers outside as well as inside. And in the brewery, we'll be open for people to come in and check it out. Because the expansion over here is to get this back opened and make this our 21 and up only side.
All right, one final thing here. The Mug Club. I've seen your ads about it. What is it and how can I sign up?
All right, so Mug Club, the new Mug Club are 20-ounce stainless steel mugs. We are signing up in-house, so you have to come in and get signed up for that. You get a couple different things. There's 2 tiers. You can do the 20-ounce sign-up, which is $95, or you can do the tier 2, which is the mug, a bunch of other swag, and a 67-ounce stainless steel growler for $150, and you have to sign up in-house. We're going to release all those mugs on Saturday, April 9th, when we do the 5-year anniversary.
That sounds fantastic. All right, tell everybody how to find you and how to find you not only in person but online.
All right, so you can find us through Facebook, Tap House Chat, Instagram, Tap House Chat, and that's chat with 2 T's. Or you can look up the web at taphousechat.com. You can pull up our menu from there. You can pull up emails for events from there. Or you can find me generally here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, running back and forth between the bar and the brewery.
And of course, you're in the heart of historic St. Elmo. It's kind of hard to miss, but what is your address just in case somebody wants to program it into their GPS?
It's 3800 St. Elmo Avenue.
All right, that's easy to find. All right, we're going to go and explore the brewery a little bit more, and who knows, I might even learn something. All right, so we're going to start off with kind of a brief overview of the brewing process. And one thing that I learned right off the bat is 80% of brewing is cleaning.
Everything you do in brewing is cleaning. You're constantly sanitizing, you're constantly making sure everything's ready to go because you're producing food. Beer is a food item. So what we have set up over here is our process of cleaning, which unlike most breweries, we still do it by hand. We open every single keg, we rinse, we run it through caustic, we run it through rinse water, we run it through sanitizer. That's the process that's happening here. As you move through the brewery, you can see our brewery setup is a little bit smaller than most around town. This is a 30-gallon system. So we're able to do 2 half barrels at a time, which is considered very small. So 30 gallons equals 1 barrel, or 2 of the half barrels that we've been working on cleaning. You go through the whole process. There's 3 steps to the brewing process. That's what we do right here. And then once the brewing process is complete, you transfer everything to fermenters. You let your beer sit and ferment, which is how it turns into the alcohol. And then we have different sizes. So we have our 15-gallon batches for experimentals. For example, we're working on a Gilgamesh stout. It's going to be Orejo chilies, cinnamon, nutmeg, cocoa, and a little bit of vanilla. We're going to age that for a while, and then we're going to put it in a barrel with some tequila and let it age on tequila. So that's one of our experimentals that we'll do in this 15-gallon size.
Oh, by the way, you pretty much had me at tequila. The concept of tequila and beer. Yeah, I'll be here when we tap that batch.
So this side of the house, this is our 30-gallon setup. We've got 6 30-gallon fermenters. Most of these we use for our in-house beers. Since we have 7 on tap, this is what we usually put them in. They'll sit here anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks before they're transferred to kegs. And then they'll set up in our process room. The kegs will get CO2 on them before we put them on. And then you have all your grains around us. Again, we're small batch, so we keep everything cleaned up here. And then we've got our mill. And the rest of the place is set up so that when we have events, we can get people in here to kind of watch what we're doing.
So here is the most important question. Do you have anything I could sample? Because it is We Try Wednesday.
We do. We've got 2 things that I'll pour for you. A black IPA that we did, and then a New England IPA.
All right, now it is time to try. So we're going to have to speak up a little bit so the camera can hear us, hopefully. What do we got first?
First one is our New England IPA. So this is one of the batches we've done 3 so far, and we think we've nailed down a good, decent New England IPA. One of our favorite things is customer feedback, talking about it, and not saying, well, we got this right the first time. It's just like cooking. How much spice do you need to add? What do you need to take away? What can you do different? Until you feel like you have something that makes your palate happy.
Why New England? What makes this a New England IPA?
That's a question for Amanda.
That's a good question. It smells kind of fruity. I mean, it almost smells like peach.
It is the yeast in there.
Ah, okay.
So the yeast gives a little bit of a different flavor profile.
So what process, what part are we in on this one? Is this ready to...
This is ready to serve.
Okay.
We've been, this has been sitting on CO2 now, carving for a little bit. So it's ready to serve. It's actually going to go next door, probably this afternoon.
Wow, that's definitely an IPA. It's got that bite to it. Interesting, because it's not that harsh. Because a lot of IPAs, to me, IPAs are, I wouldn't say it's my least favorite, but it's like, it's not the one I'm reaching for first.
Yeah, super hoppy, grassy. That's something we try and steer away from in our IPAs. That's why we use a little bit more of a fruitier accent in ours to give the palate something a little bit less than that bitterness. That
there's a little bit of sweeter, and it's got, what's the phrase? Drinkability. It's got good drinkability.
That is a good phrase.
All right, so what's next? This one looks a little bit darker.
So this is our black IPA.
Ooh.
So this is more my style because I'm not quite the giant fan of the IPA, but I like roasty malts. I like brown ales. I like porters.
You and I both.
Yep. So that's kind of that decent, fun combination of something that I can tolerate.
It smells earthier.
A little bit earthier. The malts come out in this one a little bit better. The roasted malts that are in there come out.
I almost sound like I know what I'm talking about.
You may have had one or two.
I've had a couple. All right, let's try this. Ooh, yeah, that's malty, all right. Wow. I wasn't actually expecting that. I'm trying to find the words for it. It tastes woody, like it's got almost kind of like, like a bourbon that has that kind of, that charcoal wood kind of flavor to it.
Yep, it's probably the roasted malt we use.
All right, is the roasting. Okay, this is a very interesting flavor. I'm almost, it's like it's got that, just that real back hint of like I don't know, like a little bit of chocolate. It's interesting. This is really, really cool. And so these are two, what else you got on tap here that's Imperial, just so everybody knows?
On this side, so this is kind of what we have set up for our CO2 that we check things with. Underneath here right now, we've got our mixed berry cider that we just put on CO2 today. That'll go to Hair of the Dog.
Oh, yeah. They do a lot of ciders here.
Yes.
Ciders are awesome.
Ciders are one of the things that we do. We have about 6 different flavors we do. This one's the mixed berry that we just put on today. You can find it at Hair of the Dog and Mellow Mushroom currently.
All right.
The other ones that you have under here, we've got our strawberry pear on CO2, strawberry pear cider, and then our grapefruit IPA, which you can find at Parkway Poorhouse as well.
All right, so let's see here. Well, I think I'm going to finish up for We Try Wednesday. We're at the Tap House and Empyreal Brewing in the heart of historic St. Elmo. Be sure to check it out this Saturday for the 5th anniversary party, and check them out online at Tap House. Is it The Tap House?
The Tap House.
TheTapHouse.com. We Try Wednesday on location. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Cheers.